So Liz Cheney was pushed out for continuing to speak the truth, that Donald Trump lost the election and incited the deadly Capitol insurrection. Let's talk about what today means, not just for the GOP, but for the country. Linda Chavez is the director of the Becoming American Initiative and a former Reagan White House official. She has left the Republican Party. And Stewart is a CNN political commentator and Republican strategist. Ladies, great to have you both here. I look forward to getting your perspectives. Alice, I want to start with you. You just published an op-ed on CNN.com, and I just want to read a portion of it. You say, Congresswoman Liz Cheney is a profile in courage. She is an intelligence, fierce, staunch defender of the Constitution and Republican values. She knows what it means to be a true conservative. She is unafraid to stand up to former President Donald Trump and made a career-defining vote for his impeachment based on his false claims that the 2020 election was stolen. But, and here comes the but, Alice, and it's a big one, you say, as a member of leadership, you have to sacrifice your autonomy for the good of the conference. Alice, explain, why does she have to sacrifice her integrity and her values and the truth for the conspiracy theorists?
Look, Alisyn, I think it's important to realize in a position of leadership, you're representing the entire conference. This is not about a man-on-man defense. This is a zone defense going against the Democratic Party and flooding the zone with the problems of the Biden administration. And look, it's not a binary choice, Alisyn. Look, I can believe and I can have the two thoughts at the same time, that I applaud Liz Cheney for standing up to the big lie. I agree with her 100%. But I can also believe that she should no longer serve as caucus chairperson because she is not looking out for the best interests of the unified party. I agree with what she says. I agree we had free and fair elections. I agree that Joe Biden won, Donald Trump lost.
Who's going to be the voice that stands up for truth when she's gone?
Well, she can still do so, but she can do so as a member of Congress, and I hope that she does. And what she said today, that standing up to the lies and speaking out is the proper move, and doing what she can to keep Donald Trump away from the Oval Office. But she can do so not as a leader. We need someone in that position that is speaking up every single day about the Biden administration and the policies they have with regard to the unemployment rate, with regard to the crisis at the border, outrageous spending, and not working across the aisle. That needs to be the message, and looking forward and not back.
Linda, what do you think about the ousting of Liz Cheney and what that means?
Well, first of all, I think there will be no future of the Republican Party unless the Liz Cheneys of the world lead us in that direction. There's no possibility for Republicans to win national elections if they continue to hold the lie and to succumb to all of Donald Trump's deranged conspiracy theories. Liz Cheney is perfectly happy to talk about the Biden agenda, to talk about what the Biden administration is doing wrong. She's happy to go out and talk about that every day. The problem is you have a president and his followers who continue to lecture America and to say that the election was stolen from them. It's not Liz Cheney who continues that narrative. It's Donald Trump and all of those acolytes that he apparently, holds enthralled and who are apparently quite frightened of him.
Yeah, I mean, Alice, what about that? I mean, you're basically saying that Liz Cheney needed to get in line with the party, but the party line is that Donald Trump somehow was robbed of the election, stop the steal, all of that stuff that we've heard from Elise Stefanik, who's going to replace her. It doesn't, I mean, what do you think is going to happen when three of the people who've pushed the big lie are in leadership?
Look, I think we can all agree, in my view, many common sense Republicans believe that the big lie is a distraction. It is not true. Joe Biden won, Donald Trump lost. We had free and fair elections. The insurrection was an affront to our Constitution, and many Republicans absolutely understand that. But the goal moving forward is to win back the House and to fire Nancy Pelosi. And the only way to do so is to look at the policies that impact everyday Americans. And when you go out across this country, and I talked to many Republican congressmen in the last several weeks, when they're in their districts, people are not talking about the insurrection. What they are talking about are the outrageous spending that is on the table and the problems that we're having with regard to immigration. And while the insurrection was atrocious, it was uncalled for, and we do need an investigation, Alex. Alisyn. We do need to hold people accountable, and one of them is Donald Trump. But for the head of the caucus to unite the party and not divide it, that needs to, the sole focus needs to be on pushing back against Democratic policies.
So Linda, what about that? I mean, what about that argument? It's time for the country to move on. It's been 4 months. You know, we're going to have an investigation of the insurrection, but it's time to move on and put that in the rearview mirror. What about that argument?
Well, I think that's exactly right. Just tell it to Donald Trump. He's the one who won't move on. But I think what Alice said about the 2022 elections is absolutely right. If Republicans have any hope of controlling the House of Representatives, they've got to win back districts that they lost in 2018 and 2020. And internal polling by the Republican National Committee shows that Donald Trump is deeply unpopular among Republican voters and all voters in those swing districts. So, you know, he had a 15-point deficit in his unfavorable rating over favorable rating in those swing districts. The only way you're going to win those seats back is by offering Republican candidates who don't hold to that lie. And as long as Donald Trump is controlling the party, he's going to insist that people keep up with that big lie, and that's going to keep the Democrats in control of the House and the Senate for the foreseeable future.
Alice, if you want people to go, if you want Republicans to go in the right direction, they're going towards Donald Trump. They're not going away from Donald Trump. They're making choices in leadership and beyond that is towards Donald Trump.
The goal, Alisyn, is to keep those people on board, but also to bring back on board the people that we lost in the last election.
How?
We cannot just, the goal is to keep the people on board that Donald Trump supports, and that in large part includes letting Donald Trump have a voice within the party. But we have to go back and win over the disaffected Republicans and the independents and
Alice, I
grow
hear you,
the
but
tent
those
that
are
we talked about.
mutually exclusive. Those are mutually exclusive, allowing Donald Trump and all of the statements that he keeps putting out, I won the election, the stop the steal, the big fraud, the big lie. I mean, he continues to put out these statements. How do you think you're going to win back? I should pose this to Linda to get more of her in. Linda, are they mutually exclusive or not? How do you win back independence?
You can't win them back with the big lie. You've got to broaden the party. And one of the things that is amazing is all of these state legislatures that are controlled by Republicans that are passing these restrictive voting laws, it indicates to me that they are very pessimistic about the opportunity that the Republicans have to win new voters. What they want to do is to shrink the voting base, not to expand it, not to try to take a winning argument, not to try to take the things that Liz Cheney believes in, that I believe in, that Alice Stewart believes in, and promote those with voters. Instead, they want to turn the Republican Party just into a cult that follows one man.
And Alisyn, that's what we need to. That's why we need to focus on policy and not personality. That's what got us into this mess. And returning back to policies is the right path to the future.
If you listened today, Alice, to that so-called investigation into the insurrection of what happened with lawmakers, it devolved, of course, into a shouting match, as one would expect, but it was all about personality. It was Republicans who were whitewashing what happened that day and trying to absolve President Trump. That's still where they are. They were trying to say it wasn't pro-Trump supporters who were doing this violence. It was agitators. I mean, it's just not go. I hear what you're saying, Alice. It's not going in that direction right now. And so, Alice, you know, look, you've heard one of the things that Republicans like Linda believe are that it's basically beyond repair, the party, and that they are going to have to start their own party that does believe in integrity and truth and conservative values. Your thoughts on that?
It is not beyond repair, and it's really important. Of course, when we're in a investigation on the insurrection, we're going to have conversations about what got us to that point. But the goal of the Republican Party is to get past the partisan and political and the personal differences and focus on the policies that unite us and not the personality that divides us.
Linda, do you think it's beyond repair?
I believe that the Republican Party of Donald Trump is not a party that I and thousands upon thousands of other people who've left the party, as I have, I'm now unaffiliated, can support. If you want to make the Republican Party a national party again, you have got to move on and to focus on issues and policies. I agree with Alice there, but you can't do it with Donald Trump as your standard bearer.
Linda Chavez, Alice Stewart, thank you both very much for the conversation.
Thank you, Alisyn.